The thing is, the thing about music theory, the beginning is boring. To make things easy later, you want to learn the scales. That's
Yeah.
that where it starts from.
What's good, everybody? Scoobert Dubert here, really excited to introduce you to Dr. Guy Shkolnik. He is a doctor of music theory. As you know, I love myself some music theory, and Guy digs deep. He even brought his piano so he can play some examples for you. He's taught literally 300,000 people music theory online. He has music theory courses, an incredible YouTube and Instagram. That's where I found him, was on Instagram, just scrolling around. I was like, I got to talk to this guy, pun intended. Before we get into the great conversation, I'd like to introduce my title sponsor, DistroKid. DistroKid makes music distribution fun and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists, that's us, get to keep 100% of royalties and earnings. 1 million plus artists rely on DistroKid to get their music onto Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all of the major streaming services. And we've got a 30% off discount for you at distrokid.com/VIP/love music more. All one word. You are our very important person. One of the things I love about DistroKid is that I can change all of my stuff on the go. There's the DistroKid app. It's now available on iOS and Android, so go to the App or Play Store to download it and sign up for DistroKid today with our VIP Love Music More URL for 30% off. Hope you enjoyed this conversation with Guy. Love music more. Love music more. Music more. Music more. Music more. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Love Music More. I am Scoobert Dubert, and I am joined with Guy Shkolnik. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Guy, I've been a big fan of your Instagram channel and your YouTube. I have loved your deep dives into music theory. I was also totally obsessed with your little mini videos going through some of the Japanese city pop harmony. So excited to nerd out on music stuff with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I remember those. That was the first one. I thought it was a nice way of demonstrating harmony through living composition instead of just talking about chord progressions in isolation.
I love harmony like that, chords like that, because it is so fun to write melodies over them. Like when you have a harmony that is kind of moving and doing stuff, you just start to like be able to draw these beautiful lines. When you just have kind of static harmony, it sometimes is harder to come up with something because the harmony isn't really giving you any inspiration. You're having to kind of draw it out. At least that's been my experience.
I agree with you, even though in this case, melody and harmony came together.
Yes.
Because I'm starting with this chord, and that was the natural note that I wanted on top. And that's the chord. So it's not really a random melody. It's I think it's actually a chord progression with some movement in it. If I played it this way.
Yes.
So instead of just doing this, I'm doing. Instead of just moving this way, I do. So I'm outlining the chord. And these are just chords. So harmony and melody come together in this case for me. Yeah.
I love that. One of the things that I would love to kind of try and tackle is if somebody plays a little bit of guitar, a little bit of piano, but they don't know anything about music theory for whatever reason. It's scary. They don't know where to start.
Yeah.
What would you recommend? How would you kind of break down some of those walls so that they can discover that it's fun, they can discover that it's like inspirational?
It is challenging because music theory is often taught in isolation. Also, in many harmony books, a lot of the examples come from classical music.
Yes.
So you are left to do the translation yourself. Often you go to a music school even if you go to Berkeley College of Music is a very good school, but even then, sometimes theory is one thing, and composition and the music you love is another thing, and you need to have that teacher or that system or that someone who can translate this thing. I just made a video on Billy Joel's New York State of Mind.
Yeah, great song.
So I used it to show passing chords.
What is a passing chord? If somebody, example would be
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
passing chord is when you like when I'm moving from C major to A minor. So the bass has there's a third between da da. So I could add the da 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 in between in the bass. So this is a passing tone. Now I can play several different chords over this passing tone. I could go. That's a passing tone, for example, more classical. Or I could go. That's another option. Or I could even not do anything with the right hand. It's like a situation in a band when the bass player is playing the passing tone in the bass, but he's not telling anything about it to the pianist. So the pianist just keeps playing the first chord and then moving to the second chord without knowing about. So this way you'll get. So you see, he keeps playing the same chord. So you're getting.
Very like Beatlesy, yeah.
Exactly, and also Bach. Bach
And
used
also
that.
Yes.
That's a.
Yeah. I think it was Sting who was talking about how the bass player is the most powerful person in the band because, whatever you do up on top, I can decide if it's happy or sad or weird or dissonant just by what I choose to play in the lowest note.
Exactly. And I love playing with the bass myself. Sometimes I come up with my own composition, and then I go to the synthesizer here to play a bass line. So my first instinct is just to go with what my left hand is doing on the piano, just to play the root, the roots.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I try to go I get all these new colors.
Yeah.
Because of what the bass is doing, and I say, "Wow, that's nice." Just going melodically, like think Paul McCartney bass parts, very very melodic. Did you know he used to record them after recording everything?
Which is so cool because you know exactly how much room you have. Yeah.
Exactly. He can be very melodic. For him, it was like, oh no, I'm just making music here with the instrument. I'm not just supporting the chords. So
Yeah. Yeah. That is special. And I like the order of operations in music is fascinating because just by changing what you record first, second, and third can so fundamentally change all of your decisions, the roles of each of those instruments. Like I like recording guitar last a lot of times because that's my strongest instrument. And so I'd like to kind of box myself into a corner. It's like the whole arrangement is pretty much done. Like where could guitar fit? And it's a fun exercise for me. Yeah. It's like the bass thing, but on the opposite side of the spectrum. Also, guitar is such a flexible instrument with all the different tones. Something that I would love to talk to you about, because I think a lot of people, when they come towards music theory, they hear like, I don't want to learn the rules. I don't want to learn this has to come after that. But you were talking in one of your videos about how it's more like tendencies. How like, just like with grammar, there are certain words that tend to come after another word. Could you talk a little bit about that and share that with the listeners?
Yeah, in general, I avoid using rules, the term rules, because I know how people feel about it. I know how I feel about it. And for example, I made a lot of videos on the Pat Metheny group. Do you happen to know the music by the Pat Metheny group? It's like it's music that draws from everything, from pop, from jazz, and what they do is they go they sometimes not even just break the rules by coming up with new types of chords. They change the timing of the chords. Even we think of someone like Stevie Wonder. when let's think of an example. So the rhythm of we call it harmonic rhythm. It's pretty regular. It's something. It's the thing you would expect. But I want to go back to your question. The thing is, the thing about music theory, the beginning is boring. To make things easy later, you want to learn the scales. That's
Yeah.
that where it starts from. And we have the C major scale, and then we can talk about chord progressions that like we did before. The 1 moving to the 6th chord, and back to the 1, and then we could add many different types of chords, and you want that teacher or that instructor that will show you the beautiful possibilities,
Yeah.
but also from songs
Yeah.
because you can feel it. The Beatles, for example.
Yeah.
I was playing passing chords here, or beautiful examples by Bach. And then you go, so these are passing chords. So what key is it in? It's in D major. Oh, D major. So you're going, and then you start being interested in D
Right.
major.
Yeah.
You say, so I have these 2 sharps. Okay, it has 2 sharps. All right. So I'm moving down. So what are you doing in the bass? Oh, I'm just moving down the scale. So you're
Yeah.
going D, C sharp.
Yeah. You're taking those building blocks and you're
And you
starting
start.
to, yeah.
I mean, I'm saying because you like the music,
Uh-huh.
you start getting interested in the key of D major.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you're just moving down. He's just moving down the scale. Cool. So what are the notes? C, D, C. No, D. Yeah, C sharp. D major has C sharp in it. Oh, all right. I want to know that.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
if you just start theory, okay,
Yeah.
and throw 12 major scales, because there are
Right.
12,
Right.
you need to learn them, you need to memorize them. It's not something you want to do.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You need to be very you need to know that at the end of the road there's something good waiting for you.
Uh-huh.
uh,
Right.
because you do that. And I believe in showing the goods
Yeah.
right at the start.
Yes.
One of the things that I do when I teach, for example, how to move from C chord to F chord. Okay, a
Mhm.
lot of people see this. They see, okay, so that's the C chord and
Yeah.
that's the F chord, like 2 major triads. But really, the connection is coming here. You play C major. You're in the C major environment, and C is the boss. It's like it's the home chord. Now, what happens when I take these 2 notes just to their neighbors, and all of a sudden you have the F chord,
Mhm.
and it sounds like now like it grows out of the C.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what is the bass player going to do now? That's the question. Is the bass player going to support this? The first thing the bass player is saying, well, if you guys want to, I'm playing C. That's all. Okay, now if you guys want to visit your friends here, okay, I'm fine with it, but for me it's C. So that would be great for a song intro, for example, when we're still playing C. the chord progression hasn't started yet. We're just showing the listener what the groove is,
Uh-huh.
and what the key, where we are, the vibe. That's the intro. So for the bass player, okay, he's like, yeah, okay, you guys can even go down if you want, but for me it's C major. As far as I'm concerned, I'm C. Now, when the song starts and they move to these notes, now he can support the move. Now he becomes the bass, becomes active because he's supporting these moves. So the first example, when he's just playing C, it would be great for a song intro. The second one would be better for your verse or your chorus when you want to hear that progression. So you're telling the bass, "Hey man, could you please support me? I'm going to F, so please play F." So he's okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, that's actually hits on one of the things I really like about when you have two musicians that know music theory, and then you can just be like, "Hey, just pedal that bass," or like, you know, something that instead of having to explain that whole concept, you have a common word that you can reach for, a vocab word that you're instantly on the same page. You go, "Okay, yeah, we got it."
Exactly. And another thing we did right now is explaining what is the relationship between the two chords, because if you just think chord C, chord F, you said, okay, just two major triads.
Right.
But
I
when
know
you
those
think-
shapes. Yeah.
Exactly. But when you think of them like, okay, so I'm in the key of C major. What does it even mean to be in the key of C major? Is it just about what sharps of flat do I use? No. The key of C major is a family.
Yeah.
And in this family, you have notes that are more stable, like
Yeah.
these notes, 1, 3, and 5. And the rest of them, this, for example, note 2, is a more active note when we are in the C major environment. This is C major. Now when you move to D, it's less stable. It's more active.
Yeah.
It tends to move da, da, da. When you hear here it is. This is a tendency. It doesn't need to go to C. It could go. You can write any melody you want with it, but
it doesn't need to go to C. It just tends to go to C.
It tends to go to C.
Tendency.
So you say, okay, so what is the F chord then? If I'm thinking from this perspective, so I'm moving from these. These are the three stable notes, 1, 3, and 5, and then I move to F is an active note. It's one of the less stable ones, with a tendency to move down. And then you say, oh, so in this scenario, in this environment of C major, the F chord is not as stable as the C chord. So all of a sudden, instead of just talking about two, equal chords, you have one that is more stable, and you have one that's more active, and then it's more. Now it sounds like a drama more. Like, okay,
right.
So
it adds that intrigue in the same way that I really think like you can make something sound more modern if you ignore the one chord a little bit more. If you start the whole song on 4, it's just interesting. Like, what's going on here? Like, I'm interested. Like a fight scene or like James Bond. Yeah.
Great example. But actually, the thing is, because I did learn jazz, and I did learn classical music when I was working on my PhD on Bach. It's weird because I took like 10 years to move to classical music because I didn't grow up playing classical music.
Oh, interesting.
But then I thought, I started studying piano with that teacher, but I was 21. I got into Bach, I got into Chopin. I said, wow, this music is incredible. I need to know it. For me, it wasn't like, oh, these are the fundamentals. You need to know that before you play jazz. No, for me, it was like, oh, Chopin is the old Chick Corea, or he's the old, I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
These are the jazz masters of the past.
Yeah.
And I learned that they used to improvise
Yes.
concerts, and they used to do those. So wow, these. So I went to classical school, and eventually I ended up writing a PhD on Bach. Etc. Yeah, I'm still practicing it every morning. It's really challenging. But my point is the fundamentals that we saw before, different look at music theory. I think it's deeper, not just
Mm.
to see chords, but to see the relationship. This is something that I learned from classical theory. Even then, there would be teachers that would teach more. Okay, this is a chord, this is a scale, and there was one special teacher that taught me more the relationship. And then I discovered that I could bring fundamental understandings about how the notes tend to move, again,
Mhm.
tendency, to jazz. And all of a
Mm.
sudden,
Yeah.
I could explain progressions that otherwise would be, how do I like this is one. So you have, for example,
Yeah.
this one is like,
Gnarly. Beautiful.
so you hear
Yeah.
tension here,
Yeah.
and here's a. But then I said, okay, so basically I know this
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah.
So
Right.
again, he's starting away from home, like you said before, for like
Yeah.
starting from the chord. He's not starting. No, he's starting from this mysterious place, and then you go, where am I? Oh, like
Yeah.
that. You're at like, but
Yeah.
I was able to see. Now I'm not, because I've been in touch with the music of Chopin and Brahms and all that. I'm not panicked when I see
Huh?
the music played across the entire keyboard. Like, can you hear that?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
so and you won't believe it, when I saw the chords on top of this. It's an album called The Way Up by the Pat
Mm.
Metheny group. The Way Up, it's really great music. When I saw the chords on top, they were trying to capture this with chords. So they had like E augmented, no, it was like E flat over E augmented. So what are you gonna do with that?
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's like
unstable.
that crazy chord, but
Yeah.
what the classical music allows you to do at its
Mhm.
best, when taught in a good deep way, it allows you to see through the details and say,
Mhm.
oh, so it's basically
Yeah. Right.
it's not that scary anymore. It's like,
Yeah. Well, I think that gets at a really good point about music theory, where so much of it is simple things stacked on top of each other, in the same way that like a 13 chord is so scary, but it's just two major chords on top of each other.
exactly. Or you could even see, the way I like to see the
Yeah.
13 chord
Yeah, sure.
as, on the piano, it's
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
It's like,
In pianos, yeah.
so you
Mhm.
so this is G, this is the 7. This is how we played on, we pianists played on the piano.
Yeah, cool.
So we don't just do 1 2 5, 1 3 5 7 9. We don't just play it this way. We play the 1 here,
Yeah.
the 7 here. Now the 3 of the chord. The 3 is the one that tells us if it's major or minor. Right?
Right. Yeah.
So we need it.
Yeah.
This is one of the notes we
Yeah.
usually like.
Powerful notes. You have to keep the
Powerful
3.
note, exactly. And here's a 13 on top,
Mm.
and it tends to move down, and so and when it moves here, this is a simple G7 chord.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So that's the way someone like in classical music they used to use.
Yes.
Classical music they use 13 chords, but it was more melodic.
Mm-hmm.
Now in jazz, what we do sometimes it's we skip the da, 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 this and like maybe with this C6. But here's another beautiful thing we do
Uh-huh.
with jazz. Remember we talked about stable notes and more active. What
Yeah.
about if I could end the progression here, like that?
Yeah.
That in classical music, that now that's a dissonant. But
Yeah.
how about if I? So I'm playing. I went from G7 to C basically, but I played the C with the 6, which is an active note, and the 2 on top, which is another active note. So that's the essence of jazz. It's for me now. It's easier to explain the difference between classical music and jazz. We say in jazz we like to keep things more open sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't have the need to end it like
No,
that.
exactly. Yeah. You have the
And then
6/9 chord. It's already it's loose, it's funny. It's a 6/9 chord.
exactly. And now also I'm able to explain myself. Why
Yeah.
does it sound? What is it about it? So I can say, okay, this is a C6/9 chord. Just learn it. Try to enjoy it. Feel it. You've heard it before.
Yeah.
But also understand that we have 2 active notes.
Yes.
And I'm not. And this is not fancy theory. This is something that I can actually teach in lesson 1 or 2 when I just start with music series. Say, okay, see, this is the C major. These are the stable notes, and these are the active notes. And I usually like to give active, stable.
Yeah.
And then I just say, you see, and then I could go take it to the C major chord. You're not scared by C
Yeah.
major. But how about adding 2 of these active also, and then you go, oh yeah, I think I've heard that chord before.
Totally.
Because that's the thing, we've heard it before.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by so much music.
Totally.
We play games. There's
Oh yeah.
music there.
Oh yeah.
What
You did a great video on the score for Severance, an incredible show, and I think you shared how much the theme captures the whole feeling of being locked in this office forever, and it's so good. It's so beautiful.
Exactly. I heard I heard this as the company, as the corporate, and then this I said, this sounds blues, like the blues.
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, blues is more emotional, and these are chords, many of them. And here this is the lonely voice on top. Then I started to say, yeah, maybe this is this, and this is Mark and the yeah.
Yeah. And that pedal tone again. You had that low pedal tone, just the bass steady.
Exactly.
You're not going anywhere.
Exactly. And then I started applying my music my music analysis stuff, and say, where do I know this from? Oh, isn't it just so I played the iPhone ringtone, and I started seeing that and say, so instead of this, he's going. So he's making it just more chromatic.
Yeah.
So and at the end, I said, oh, so that's why it's so haunting, because we do recognize it. We've heard it before. He didn't just come up with, this is like straight from what I'm saying in the video.
Yeah.
He didn't just come up with a new strange progression, that we haven't heard before. he came with something that we recognize. Just like before when we said you've heard that 6/9 chord before.
Yeah.
So heard it before, and we definitely heard this. Some, we this piano jazz. We've heard that. So this is the right mix of or the beautiful mix of new, weird, and familiar at the same time.
Sorry to interrupt this very important broadcast. What I'm asking for is for you to rate it 5 stars, share it with your friends. This is like the most important thing for this podcast to grow. So if you want to do this, you go onto the podcast screen, right? You click on the ... on Spotify. Under there, it says rate show, and you go and you click it. 5 stars. If you could do that for me, that's the best way for the algorithms, all this stuff to share it out with the world. I know that it's a lot to ask, but if you could please just hit those 3 dots and then a 5 star, it would really help us out and helps us, get the word out and spread the love of music. So thank you. If you're listening on YouTube, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. And here's the rest of the episode.
And I'm fascinated by
Me too.
that.
Me too. That's mastery, and it puts you right in the place, and you don't even. That's the other thing I love about music theory is that you experience all of it, and then you go, okay, like why do I feel this way? They work in tandem where it gives you the emotion, and then you can take a step back as the composer and be like, okay, let me unpack that. How did that emotion come out of that chord progression?
Absolutely, and you're so right to you started with a question. Let's say if you have someone who loves music, who's excited, who wants to explore the beauty of it, and he's presented with a set of rules. The first 10 lessons are not interesting. They just to teach him the alphabet. So these are words, and these are and he's starting to question it. When is it ever going to make musical sense?
Yeah.
When is it going to help me understand something that I cannot understand by intuition right now? And oftentimes that's the case. No, you're not good. You're studying theory now. You need to learn your scales, but then you go, why? Why do I need? And when I teach, I don't even like to call it theory. I like to call it music. The mechanics of music. What is it made of? Why does it move this way? And also why we may choose not to go by the rules.
Yeah.
So I think the environment it's much more now inviting
Mm-hmm.
musicians.
Mm-hmm.
I like to experiment with music myself to make my own music, so I know how it feels. I hate to tell people, no, you should do this. You should no.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope no one's listening, but I tell you something. The people who teach music theory, a lot of them are not involved in creating music.
Yeah. I understand what you're
So
saying. Yeah.
so in many cases they don't know, maybe they don't fully understand the struggle, you know of us, trying to create something new, or emotional with what we got.
Yeah, no, it's good. So, speaking of Bach, and also music theory, there's a thing that people love to hate, but there's also something beautiful out of it. SATB, 4-part, voice leading, voice writing. The thing that I find really neat about it, I hated it at first, but I've come back around, is that polyphony and thinking like 4 interconnected melodies is really fun thing to apply to synthesizers, to guitars, to like horn parts. When I was doing it on voices, I was like, what am I doing? I'm just doing math. I'm doing music theory exercises. Could you talk about that, especially as somebody that has a PhD in all things
Look,
Bach?
for Bach,
Yeah.
it's really interesting. We love Bach, but we don't fully understand what he did.
Okay.
He was thinking chords much more than we think. He was thinking he was thinking chord in terms of chord progressions, and for him that motion of the voices of the independent, like let me give you an example, like we have this is a famous no. have two independent voices, right? But what gives them direction, they're not just randomly moving. There is a chord progression. Like the Billy Joel that we've seen before, but
yeah.
he knew how to project or how to express that progression, the harmonic progression,
Mhm.
with just two voices
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
So I heard. I could,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could translate that into chords. Now,
Mhm.
and what he did is just go with the two voices, but we
Yes.
still hear and enjoy the harmony.
Yeah, you're filling it out with your own just yeah.
Exactly, and what I know that because he sometimes used to, when he wrote his chorales, then he used like chords. He
Mhm.
these are chords.
One thing that I love about that type of progression is it really shows the gravity of harmony. It
Yes.
feels like you're rotating around like the sun or something like that. You're always going to come back around, but you don't quite know when you're going to turn back around the sun.
Oh yeah, beautiful,
Thank you.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Keep going.
Sure. Yeah. But and there's some harmony that you you feel like you're lost out in orbit, but then that beautiful moment you're like in Pluto or something instead of the Earth. You're like far, far from the sun. But then you finally wrap like Giant Steps. I think Giant Steps is a really good example of like you almost like you're getting thrown between different gravitational centers because it's kind of harmonizing these different homes, but you're never
Yes,
quite home until you hit the
exactly.
beginning of the progression. It's
Hmm.
fun. That stuff's fun.
So yeah, absolutely, and you're right. It's like it's drama. It's when
Yeah.
he eventually he will get back to home, but the question is when, and the question is what's the journey going to be like. And but what I'm saying about, you asked about the independent voices.
Yes.
So the first thing I said, like, hey, he was well based in chord progressions more than we think, but he used independent movement as more of a texture. What I'm trying to say, he could play the same progression with moving voices or with chords. So in classical music, we call these different textures of the same thing,
Cool.
and he could move, very in a beautiful way, from chords to more like moving parts, moving voices. That what I'm trying to say, when you're making your arrangements, like like for horns or for the synth, usually you have that gravitational forces somewhere in the background that shows you. And when you learn classical voice leading, at its best, they just show you better ways of, or maybe more elegant ways of doing that. One of the rules in harmony is about avoiding parallel octaves. Like they're saying, when you're moving from C major to D minor, don't just move this way, because what happens, you have like four, choir of four members choir, and what happens now, these two guys they start moving in parallel motion, so they start sounding like one person. And since all you have to begin with, just four of them, why are you going to lose one of the voices by one of them started behaving like, so you're losing so what they're saying, instead, when you're moving from C major to D minor, just go in the opposite. So the bass is moving to D, and try to move the upper three voice down to the nearest nearest possible position of D minor. So
Yeah.
instead of just,
Mm-hmm.
but does this sound terrible when we're doing it the wrong way? No.
Yeah.
And why do we know that? Because the guitar we're using barré.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm. Yes. But and
this is
that
parallel motion.
it is.
And it sounds great. So
Yeah.
then you say, okay, so what they really teach me in classical music,
Mm-hmm.
that in Vienna, 18th century,
Uh-huh.
they love this elegance of avoiding it, not because it sounds terrible, but that's something they love doing. And then you say, oh, so we're talking aesthetics now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I actually liked what they did, and
Uh-huh.
I'm going to learn it. But at the same time, when I'm playing a Beatles song, do, 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 I want to hold your hand. So I am going to do exactly that parallel motion, that
Yes.
so-called. So we end up sometimes with, you go to theory class and they say you shouldn't do parallel motion,
Yeah.
parallel octaves.
Yeah.
But if you know enough, you say, hey, the Beatles did it.
Yes.
It's good. And at
Totally.
the same time, I love what the European did.
Right.
And then everything is like, it's easier to digest.
Yes. But also by learning both, now you have both. And like a little thing that opened my eyes on guitar is when you're writing guitar parts that are up high,
Mhm.
thinking in voice leading is really cool instead of just shapes. Because like early guitarist, you're all about shapes. You only know like, here's my D chord, I'm going to move it up here. But if you start to think about like, okay, this voice is doing this voice is doing that, you can do more interesting things on the guitar up top. And it's just this beautiful texture, especially with some delay and some reverb and all these things. And you draw from the Palestrinian, like that Austrian vibe and throw
Mhm.
that into some rock music. I think that sounds really, really cool.
It,
Yeah, it opened my eyes.
and also melodic,
And melodic. It's another hook. It's another texture. You add that little dash of elegance, and then you go right back to some power chords. Like that's a cool way to differentiate yourself by dipping into the past and borrowing a little bit of that elegance.
Exactly. And what happens a lot, we said it before, when you're exposed to that, all
Mm.
of a sudden it reminds you of something you knew. Oh, I've heard that before.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, what that exposure did to you, it connected you to something you knew, and the fact that you remember that is because maybe you liked it.
yeah,
But now you know what it is. Now you're going to use it. As
yeah.
I think at its best, that music studies do to you. They don't just teach you new things, but they help you understand stuff that you like.
Totally. Let's get a little weirder though. I want to ask you about symmetry and like non just major minor scales, but things like negative harmony or whole tone scales or
Mhm.
octatonic double diminished kind of scales. Could you tell the listener about? I don't know. We've been talking this whole time about that Western rooted. What else is out there?
With negative harmony, I think people started talking about it again because of a video Jacob Collier did about it. And what he did is, before we talk about the techniques,
Sure.
he ended up just saying, just taking like a few nice idea, for that technique, and using it in his music. Say, oh, that's nice. I wouldn't have thought about it hadn't I played with negative harmony. So that's cool. I got
Yeah.
some new musical ideas that I can use in my own music. The idea behind negative harmony was that you could move. I like to think about it as a mirror harmony. That's another way
Mm. I like
of
that
saying.
better. I like that better.
Yeah, because it's more visual. You can you can see. And I made a video. Did you see
I saw
the
with
video?
you put a playing card or something like that in between.
Yeah, foil paper.
Foil
Uh,
paper. That's it.
yeah, because I had to explain it to myself. Say, what is
Uh-huh.
it? Why are people talking about axis? I don't understand that. The axis. They were showing you basically that that. So if you started from, so this is you have C here and G here. Now if I move one note to the right, I could go. I mean a whole tone. I could go whole tone to the left or right, and then another one. That's a whole tone,
Yeah.
and
It's where it's
and
supposed to be
then
different.
another semitone. All right, semitone here, whole tone, whole tone. All right, so I end up with the mirror of C major is C minor. All right, so let's go another one up. So on the other side, we need to move down. Okay, so the mirror of D minor is B flat. And what's the mirror of E minor? That would be, so A flat. And then as a musician, I started to say,
Yeah.
okay, what can I do with it? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
right.
nice, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
But what can I do with it? And I said, okay, how about I try? I'll try a progression. I'll go the Jacob Collier way. I see if I can get something that I like out of this, because otherwise it's meaningless. So and then I came up with this progression. I said, how about if I start from the mirror side? I try to make it in the in the same progression. But just before that, a lot of people ask, yeah, but so with the mirror, what I did, I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, I could go this way, but I could also make the meet in the middle. So I said,
Yeah.
okay, let's move a semitone here.
Interesting. Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
move another one here. Oh, so
Yeah.
and then I put the foil paper here between B
Okay.
flat. I say it's much easier for me to
Yeah.
as a mirror now, instead of uh, seeing it there. And then the point was, a lot of people say, yeah, but why C and G? Why not C and, I don't know, F sharp? And I said, because when I put the mirror, when I place it here,
Mm-hmm.
then the mirror of C major is C minor. And this is something I can still deal with, because I say, so I'm moving, the mirror side is C minor, but it's still C.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still C. So maybe I can create a progression with the mirror, like for both sides of the mirror, and it's going to move from C minor to C major. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that I know. It's not
Yeah.
like,
Right.
so I went with so these are from the mirror side, and this is E minor from the regular side, G7. And then I said to myself, wow, that's nice. I never thought of moving from E flat to E minor.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, it's worth it for me, because maybe I'm going to use it in a song one day,
Yeah.
because and that's the point. That's the point of the whole point of I think for me, of learning these new techniques. I have a book. It's called Harmony of the 20th Century. Tons of these all kind of artificial devices. If you start here, you end up here. But a lot of the music doesn't sound very musical, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So actually the guy who wrote the book did create very musical stuff with that, but potentially it can be just theory. So all we're trying to do sometimes is look for new ideas, and just like David Bowie used to write lyrics. So he could go the traditional way of telling a story, but sometimes he just chop the word, have like just words, and John Lennon did the same, I believe. Just take, okay, let's take, what do I have, morning, sunshine, or night, and just play with the words, and create something random of it, out of it, and give it new meaning. Do you know, does make sense what
It
I'm
does.
saying?
It does make sense. It's part of the reason why I like learning quote it like exotic scales, different scales on the guitar. Less so that I can be like, now I'm playing in this mode, now I'm playing in this scale. It's not really about that. It's more just like now I know I could deploy this weird note that doesn't normally work, but I'm listening to the band and they're playing this chord. I was practicing this weird scale, and I know I'm allowed to play a flat two here. I know that that's going to sound different and cool and spicy, but it's not because I'm locking myself into like I play this now. I play Egyptian sounding stuff now. It's just like I know the notes that are dancing around at my fingertips. I'm not just playing a pentatonic scale. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I do that all the time too.
Yes, yes, and with, for example, with the octatonic scale
Yeah,
that one way I like to look at it
yeah,
is we have let's, if we start from C, we can play. This is the octatonic sound. We say octatonic because it means 8 notes, because the regular scales are 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to 1. Also the minor ones, they're all 7. The Lydian, and here we have one that has 8, so it's octatonic.
yeah,
Now, the way I like to look at it is
yeah.
as usual, to simplify stuff, and then say, oh, so what do I really have here? I have here a diminished chord. Cool, I know the diminished. Now all I'm doing is just adding a semitone below each one of
Yep.
these chord tones. So I got, here it is. So here's the semitone. All right. That's another one. That's another one. So I'm getting the octatonics.
Yeah.
And but why is it useful? Okay?
Tritone subs.
Why useful to me? Because I'm starting to think, hey, how about if I played it by, I just add these semitones, not to all the notes.
Yeah.
I will add them to some. I will start by adding. I'll add it here and here, but here I'll go with just with the diminished chord without the approach tone.
Right.
So all of a
Yep.
sudden it sounds more organic.
Yeah.
It's something that I did with it. I
Yeah.
like
Totally. What?
approach tone. I like to go in and change stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great scale to dip in and out of. You know, like it's really hard to compose an entire song just in octatonic. You sound like Scriabin or something. But the one of the other things I like about it though is that it's very associated with like the blues scale, because it's very like 5 chord. Like just like every diminished chord is also a 5 chord. And then the tritone sub idea where you're just stacking these diminished chords on top of each other, so you can move now your 5 chord up a minor third and do really cool stuff when you're soloing, and you're just doing all the octatonic things. But people are like, wow, so out, so jazzy, so different. And it's like, you can have an entire bag just from this one scale.
Exactly. But now you also see, okay, so I can personalize it by adding those semitones to only some of the keys.
Yes.
So instead of something sounding like it's a scale that I have to play. Oh, the semitones. I can add them
So
to
cool.
only some. Yeah, I mean, but it takes, for me to do that, it takes time. I have to spend some time with a a few minutes, maybe a day, to to learn the sound, because I want
definitely.
By ear. Yeah, that was one of my ear training classes that I did when I taught ear training in college. It was college ear training. I let them sing octatonic scales.
Yeah, cool, nice. That's brutal.
Yeah, it is. It's like, I can play. I can play it. Why is it so hard to sing it? Yeah,
It's so hard to sing. Tritones are so hard to sing. The thing that I love on the octatonic too is you have just the minor and the major. So like if you're thinking of it from the first note, like the first of the root of the octatonic, whatever that means. But like so say it's C. You have C, then you have E flat and E, but then you also have B flat and you have A. So like right there, those notes alone, very pop, very blues.
yeah. It's like yeah, the sound of the blues, but with some added
Otherworldly, like Martian kind of thing going on.
exact
And then you like
exact.
you throw in those other notes as splashes of color. And you're like, what world am I? I love it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's fun.
Absolutely.
But that's what the tools are. That like just full circle on these things. It's not about rules. Obviously, we're talking about like how do we borrow some ideas from this? How do we change it up, mix it up? Like it's just like how do you refocus the way you think about music? How do you add more tools to your composition? How do you experiment with things and be like, how does this make me feel? Like why do I feel like I'm on a different planet with this chord versus the C major scale? I feel very rooted in Vienna or something.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And, when I teach, I always remember that I'm talking to people who love music, and whatever I'm teaching them is to enhance that, to serve that, not to bombard them with information. That's the whole thing. I'm thinking about it from I'm I'm a person who's writing music too, and I want you know I'm helping my fellow musicians, sharing with them stuff that I know about music. For example, when I created my music course, I asked myself, I need to use examples from familiar songs. I could not play entire songs because the of rights of but use some examples here and there, and I even said, okay, so if I use this Beatles song, I went on Spotify to just look for what are the top five Beatles songs that people listen to
Uh-huh.
uh, today, and I discovered, okay, it's "Here Comes the Sun," and my point is, so I said, okay, I'm going to use "Here Comes the Sun" in my course to show that whatever thing that I wanted to show, because I want people to connect with it. Because if I just play them a Brahms example, or some kind of Schumann example, it's gonna be, they're gonna say, okay, that's nice, but what does it got to do with with the
Totally.
fun I love to have when I'm making music? So I say, but if I'm using "Here Comes the Sun," okay, that's more approachable. So
Yes.
that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to communicate this thing to
Yes.
people. It's
Great.
about communication. I just love to see when they understand.
Totally.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, I get it now. Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Those light bulb moments. So this brings me to a question pretty seamlessly. I ask all of my guests this, and I want to do the same for you. It's a difficult question, but a very simple question. Guy, why do you love music?
I don't know. I don't know. I just do. I started reacting to music when I was like 3. In kindergarten, even before, there was a woman who used to come with an accordion to play, and I was just
Cool.
transfixed. And then I asked my parents to get me a toy accordion, and I was already playing some melodies, using melody, and that's it. That's it for me. And my story, by the way, is that I left music studies at age 5, and I or 6, and I came back only when I was 15, because I had a bad experience with a music teacher.
Hmm.
He told my mom that because I played by ear, and I could pick up the tunes, and I didn't learn to read music. I wasn't depending on reading. So he said he's probably not going to be a serious musician.
Hmm.
And I came back to music when I was 15, this time in my own terms. I started as a self-taught, then I found good teachers, and that. So yeah, I love music because it's just beautiful. It's a gift that we got. I've heard somewhere that it's not essential for us to live. for our life. It's not essential, but it's kind of a gift that we got. You know, So I treat it as a gift. Music is a gift.
Couldn't agree more. One last question. How many keys are there? Because there's been a controversy going on the internet whether or not there's actually 12 keys. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. I like C sharp. Okay, so they're saying like I could go. The simple way to go on the piano: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and back to 1. So 12 keys. C major, and this is C sharp. But then people say, yeah, but it can be D flat.
Right. What about
C sharp and D
backwards?
flat. So we have C sharp. So yeah, I guess like 12. I need to count. I'm yet to count those.
Good answer. I think my answer is as many slices as you want to cut from it. You can have as many keys as you want.
Exactly. I mean, when I get to D flat major, I'll deal with D flat.
Yeah. Good answer. Well, Guy, where can people get in touch? Where can they check out your course? Follow you on Instagram, YouTube?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram and I'm on YouTube. And on what I like about Instagram is the ability to create ear training quizzes in the stories.
Yes.
This is something that YouTube has more, the ability to have longer videos, but Instagram is more dynamic, and my the link to my course is in my bio, so you can have a look. And yeah, so and also those quizzes are great because people get to I always try to make them fun and musical, not just play this and ask what is a C major, C minor, but just play music, real music that I improvise on the Nord. So did I go to E flat or did I go to E flat in this case? So I like to. People say, oh, so yeah, so it's like ear training, but made musical. That's what I try.
Lovely. I love it.
Invite.
Yes.
Invite.
Yes, that's really great. Well, thank you so much for joining the show. Really appreciated the conversation.
Thank you very much for having me. It was great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.